Welcome, everyone. So today we are going to have a discussion on the last 2 months preparation strategy for CAT 2020. So it's already September 27th today, and we have CAT on November 29th. Hopefully, everybody has filled up your CAT forms and everything. And the registration, after the registration, there's a small edit window period. If you have received a message, you should have received a message, whoever has registered. The window period has started from today, 10 a.m., and it will be till Tuesday, 5 p.m., 29th of September, that is. You can edit your photo signature and test city preferences if there's any need for doing that. So you can do that. Do not miss that out. But anyhow, I mean, the primary reason for having this discussion was to make you understand what should be the strategy that you should keep for the last 2 months, the most crucial part of your CAT preparation journey. And because there's a new pattern in that was notified very recently, we decided to keep that also as part of the agenda for the session tonight. But please understand one thing, that when it comes to CAT, I mean, as it always has been, it is a percentile game. It's not a percentage one, meaning that the rank is what is important. I mean, it doesn't matter how high or how low you score. Of course, it matters. It will define the rank, but the level of difficulty and the number of questions and the time limit and everything that is there in the paper, it's there for everybody. So if you have received the notification on a certain date that the time duration is going to change for CAT 2020, every other aspirant was on a common ground, right? So it's not just that you have received this notification at this late stage. Everybody has. So, but obviously, you have to take that into consideration because you know about it and everybody knows about it. Everyone should take that into consideration, and going forward, should tweak a little bit in their preparation as far as this new pattern is concerned. So as I was saying, so we will go through these main pointers for this session tonight. I will, of course, focus. I'll start the session by focusing on mock analysis. This is the most important part of your last 2 months preparation. I hope that everybody has been taking mocks so far. If you have started your preparation very soon, then do finish the syllabus quickly and start taking mocks as early as possible. Not, I mean, it's not that you have to finish the 100% of the syllabus before you start taking mocks. You may complete somewhere around 70 to 80% of the syllabus, and then itself you can start taking mocks and try to cover up the remaining part of the syllabus that you have not covered so far. So you have to manage that, of course, if you have started a bit late. And we are, as I already mentioned, we are going to definitely talk a little bit on the impact of the pattern change and how to, take care of that in your preparation, and what sort of things you can expect from the CAT paper as far as we understand so far. And I'm going to finish the session by talking a little bit about the preparation flow for the last 2 months. And of course, I'll also take in some questions that were raised by people who filled the registration form. You are also welcome to keep asking questions in the live chat. We will take them into consideration when we go through the session. So in the chat itself, we'll take care of your queries, and if there's a query that is not being covered in the session, then we'll separately take care of it. So with this, let's start off with the session tonight. Okay, so starting with the most important part of your last 2 months preparation journey. First thing, I hope that you have been analyzing mocks, till this point, whatever mocks you have taken. This is the most important part of your preparation. Just by taking mocks, you're not going to improve anything. I mean, the reason you're taking mocks is to improve your decision making, your time management skills, your way of solving a problem. So these are the things that you are actually looking for when you're taking mocks. So yeah, it has to be a continual improvement. So until unless you're analyzing them properly, that continual improvement is never going to happen. So I hope that you have been working on it. We actually had a video, a small video on, how to analyze mocks and everything. It is in our, YouTube channel. I'll link it to this video somewhere, maybe in the description or on the I button. But go through that video if you have not done so. As of now. But therein we have discussed how to analyze mocks and how to go ahead with it. But what is the reason of analyzing mocks, and what do you actually look for? So let me revisit a few key pointers on that part as well, which will be crucial at this stage. So first of all, when you're analyzing mocks, you're looking for two types of identifications mainly. One is obviously the type of mistakes you're making. So you could make an error of misunderstanding the question. So it could be a comprehension error. You can read the question incorrectly. It's possible. So that will be called a comprehension error, right? You could misapply a process, or maybe uh, if you have marked up a certain way of solving a particular problem, then maybe you have tried to apply that approach and it didn't work in that problem. That might be a process related mistake that you made, or it could be very simple as a calculation mistake. So you can make a lot of different types of mistakes, right? Well, it is very important that you identify those mistakes. It is very important that you identify what types of mistakes you're making. Until unless you're identifying those mistakes, you can never improve on it. First step of improving on the mistakes is to identify that and to know yourself. So first of all, know about the mistakes that you're making. So that is obviously one part of the analysis. The second type of problem that people have is on time wastages. So, do identify the type of time wastages that you have done. You could have got stuck into a problem. You could have, wasted a lot on maybe miscalculating something. So there might be a lot of issues that might happen, a different type of issues that might happen when it comes to time wastages. Just try to run through that mock period when you were solving that particular question, when you're analyzing the paper, that is, after taking the mock. So just try to go through that period when you were taking that, or attempting that particular question. Just think about what happened. Was it at the last part of the paper, were you in a rush, or what type of problem happened because of which you wasted a lot of time in that problem? Did you misread a particular information? So again, comprehension error could be one of the triggering issue out here. So there could be again multiple reasons because of which you're wasting time on a particular problem. Try to identify them. Again, identifying is the key part here. Finding various approaches to solve a problem is something which will gradually help you to generate what people generally talk about, shortcuts. Shortcuts are simply a simplified way of looking at a particular problem. Now, you cannot look at a problem in a simplified manner until unless you have a couple of things done. One, you should have a complete, understanding of the basic of that particular area. And secondly, you have to try once at least. I mean, once more at least. If you have solved a problem and got the answer, try to think about another way of solving that problem. Is there any other way to solve that particular problem? Obviously, we at Mathoratory will help you if you are enrolled with us. Students very often contact us directly to think about alternate ways of solving a particular problem. But keep that mentality. I mean, until unless you're working on it, you're not improving at all. The way you have solved it, you can anyhow solve it, right? I mean, then why did you even take that paper? Why did you even take that, try that question? So finding various approaches to solve a problem is something which grows you eventually. It has to be a gradual process, but it definitely will help you over a period of time. I will show you an Excel sheet now, in which we this is something we employ in our mock analysis sessions, the one-to-one mock analysis sessions with our students. You can take some notes on it, and you can try to employ that same thing in your analysis as well. Whatever you are doing so far, that is absolutely fine. To add to it, this kind of analysis or this kind of framework might help you a little bit on the analysis. So let me just move to the Excel sheet now. Okay, so this is the template of the sheet that we typically use in our one-to-one analysis. Now, first thing, in this particular sheet, I mean, there are three sheets out here. I hope you can see that. So in the first sheet, we typically note down two types of issues. One is time-wise a issue that student might have faced during the paper, and another is difficulty-wise. So this is a small matrix out here which we utilize in our mock analysis. So suppose you have, in a paper, you have tried a question. Now, when I say tried a question, it's not simply, not simply that you have marked that particular question, marked an answer to it. It might also be that you have, invested some time in that question, but you have not finally marked it. But if you have invested some time into that question, you have actually tried it, right? So think in that way. So that is when I say attempted a question, not that when you have actually marked it, I'm calling that as attempted. But if you have invested any time on it, I'll call that as an attempt. So if you have attempted a question and you found it difficult during the exam, later on when you are trying those questions again after the mock, you find it easy. So that might be a reason. I mean, there might be some reason behind it, right? So try to identify what you missed. I mean, when will this happen? So if you found the question to be difficult in the paper, and later on you found it easy, and because of which the time reduces. So earlier you took a bit of time to solve that question because you found it difficult, but later on, because of finding that same question easier, when there is no time pressure, you're not sitting in the mock, you're sitting relaxed in your home, and attempting that particular question, the time also reduces. So definitely you missed something out there, right? So try to identify what you missed, and whatever you identify, keep a note of that. So this is what the third sheet does. You simply keep notes of that. So mark the question number and what did you miss. So things that you need to work on. So please maintain something like this. This is one idea. Not going into too much details on this, but this is another idea. So this is based on the SWOT analysis. I hope a few of you, or almost all of you, have heard about SWOT analysis. So what we have done is we have kept accuracy in the x-axis and the speed on the y-axis. So if a question is correct and you have taken less time to solve it, so the speed was also high, all the question that falls in this category or this quadrant will be your strengths, right? So this will be your comfort zone. So keep a mark of that as well. Anything which you have done correctly, but you have taken a bit of time to solve. So this is how we distribute the time. So for a single question, maybe a quant question or a verbal question, or even the standard DI questions, because DI, you don't have to solve the set, right? You just have to solve the questions independently of each other. So for the independent questions, if you have invested less than 2 minutes, you should call that less time to solve. If you have spent more than that, then obviously you have spent more time than you should have. I mean, I'm talking about average time per question. So speed low, but you have attempted correctly. So that's your potential zone. Now, when it comes to a potential zone, it could be that the time could have reduced, something that you missed, again, that attaches with this particular sheet. In that case, again, keep a note of that. Or it might be that it was a problem where any which way the question would have been time consuming. So in that particular scenario, you have to ask yourself, was it worth investing that time in that particular question? did I not have more questions to solve apart from this particular question? So identification error might be a problem. This is typically known as a scanning problem, right? So if you have misidentified a question, that is, you have solved a question which would have been time consuming any which way, and you have attempted that question. So it's you should be asking yourself whether you should have attempted that question or not. Would you not have fared better had you attempted two more questions, leaving this particular question or not? So this kind of issues might be happening in this particular quadrant. So wherever that falls under the potential zone. So this is the color coding we typically recommend our students to maintain for the questions. Any which way, this is not that relevant. If you are an enrolled student at Math Oratory and you have been doing this already, so you would be knowing about it any which way. Coming to this particular zone, now this is in SWOT analysis called as threat. So we are calling this alert zone. This is something where you have tried to solve quickly, but unfortunately, just because you wanted to solve it quickly rather than solving it accurately, you missed out on the accuracy part. This is bad. You should not miss out or try to do a question quickly. I always recommend our students to finish a particular problem. Now, this is not the only error that happens. There are multiple issues. So this color coding belongs to this quadrant. This There are multiple problems, multiple reasons because of which reason you might have got the question incorrect. It could be panic or time pressure. It could be comprehension error. It could be anything related to process or calculation. The thing I talked about a while back, type of mistakes that you're making. So anything that falls in this particular zone, you have to be alert about it. Why did you do that? I mean, this is unfortunate, right? I mean, you have spent a bit of time on it, and just because just to try to save, let's say 5 to 10 seconds, you maybe have rushed and got it incorrect. Always finish a problem. When you're into a problem, always finish a problem, then only move to the next problem. Do not try to rush and the last stage or something. Anything that is low on accuracy as well as low on time is high on time is definitely your weak area. So yeah, you should be aware of your weak areas. I'll come to a bit of a bit of how to manage the weak areas and everything in the last part of the session. But of course, you should be taking care of it. So this is a rough structure that I wanted to show you. You can develop your own, and if you want to do the analysis sessions with us, you're welcome to do that. I'll leave the link below. You can take a demo or something. And now let us get back to the slides again. Okay, so moving on to the types of mistakes that you can make. And this is the important part that you are ought to analyze in mocks. So first of all, decision making. What you have to understand is this is the major part of the test. CAT is not testing your ability of solving a math problem or solving your understanding of grammar and everything. I mean, obviously, to a certain extent, you need to have that. Any knowledgeable person needs to have that, but that is just the basic understanding of those areas. What you ought to have. Majorly, what they are testing is your decision making ability, because ultimately this is a test for an MBA program, right? This is an entrance test for an MBA program. So decision making is a very key part of an MBA person. So whoever is an MBA should be good at making those right decisions at the right time. So choosing a wrong question is definitely alert part of your mock analysis. So if you have chosen a wrong question, I have talked a little bit about it in that sheet that I shared. You have to understand that if you have chosen the wrong question, why did you get pulled towards it? I mean, what led to getting you pulled towards it? Was it your less understanding of the other areas that were there in the questions? Just to avoid those areas, you had to solve this particular question? Or was it that you misunderstood the question? You initially thought that this might be an easy question, but later on it came out to be as a very time consuming one or difficult one. What was the reason? Try to identify that. what was the reason of choosing that wrong question. Whatever is the reason, try to resolve it. Don't try to avoid it. Also, sometimes you might be leaving the right questions. Now, when I say leaving the right question, I'm talking specifically about sitters. Now, there are a lot of sitters you will find in a lot of mocks. I mean, every mock you will have a lot of sitters, because there will be a lot of sitters in CAT as well. There will be at least 7 to 8 questions out of 20 questions or 24 questions, whatever be the pattern. We'll come to that in a while. But then, whatever be the number of questions, there will be at least 6 to 7 questions. I mean, even if not 7 to 8 questions, which will be definitely sitters. And if you have left that, I mean, there is sometimes a mentality when you have a verbose question. So a lot of sentences are there in that particular question. People tend to leave it. They think that I have to read so much, so let me try this later on. That's not the right mentality. It might be just that you have to read that particular question. Once you read it, while reading itself, you might be able to solve it. So who knows? I mean, until unless you have actually gone through that question, you never know what that question is, right? So leaving the right questions is also something you have to avoid. Obviously, you will get to understand that provided during the mock analysis you have tried the questions that you have not attempted during the paper. So the questions that you have left out completely. So the ones that you have not even gave it a shot, or you tried it and then did not mark anything. Do try those questions later on. Try to understand from the explanations at least what was the reasoning behind that particular question, what was the basic idea behind that question. So do not try to avoid a question just because it's verbose, just because you feel you're not very strong in that particular area. If you have done the basics of every particular area, and this is the reason we always recommend to complete the basics of every area under the testing. If you have covered it, then obviously you will be at a better state to make these decisions. Then you would be a better stage to analyze whether you are making the right decisions or not. So please try to avoid these two types of mistakes. I'm sorry, improve on these two types of decision making. I mean, you will be making mistakes on this. There is no harm in it. Even I made it when I was a CAT aspirant, but I learned from it. So learning from those mistakes are very important. That is how you grow in decision making ability. So this is one part, and of course the time management thing. Now, there you will find a lot of questions in which you have made a mistake in, some error in calculation while you were solving the particular question. So it might sometimes what happens is you solve a particular question, and midway during the solving, is let's say in the fourth or fifth step, you made a calculation error. You did not notice it at that time, and obviously if you had noticed it, you would have not made that error. You would have resolved it then and there, but you did not notice it and you went forward. Now one of two things happened. Either you're not getting any option which matches your answer, or you are getting an answer which is not even feasible. There might also be a situation where you might mark the wrong option completely. Now that will not be that will not be a problem in time management, but that will definitely hit your accuracy. But these two types of problem, either you're not getting an option or you are getting an answer which is infeasible completely. This might happen because of a wrong calculation midway during the solving. So try to understand. I mean, try to understand how to simplify those calculations. In our simplification of calculation part, this is there as a playlist in our YouTube channel itself. You can go ahead and check that out. I'll leave the link in the description. We have discussed about how to simplify the calculation. So people typically call that speed math, right? I mean, it is the same thing, but it's not that speed is the focus. The focus is simplification. When you simplify it, it automatically speeds up your calculation, and obviously it resolves your accuracy as well. So try to avoid these kind of issues as far as possible. You will avoid it only when you learn from it. The second point, the second type of issue with time management. Now, this is a very prevalent type. A lot of you might have faced this issue again and again. This is a problem with our ego. I mean, I have faced this problem a lot of times when I used to take mocks. The thing that I'm talking about in this particular point is a type of question which I know that it's in my comfort zone. Maybe not, just saying comfort zone might not be apt at this particular stage. So I might call this one of my strong areas, let's say. So a particular question from my strong areas. And due to some problem, I'm not being able to solve this particular question. Maybe this is something I'm missing out today, and this particular moment I'm missing something in this particular question. So this bugs us, right? I mean, how I'm not being able to solve this particular question. This is something in my strong area. My recommendation is at that point of time not to dwell too much. I mean, I had faced this kind of situation earlier when I was a CAT aspirant, but what I did was I just used to mark that particular question, go ahead and finish the rest of it. Then if I have time to come back, and I came back to this particular question. So this these are few things which happens to every person. I mean, every person. I mean, not just CAT aspirant. So try to know that. I mean, it's something you cannot avoid. You cannot avoid being human being, right? So you have to understand these kind of and accept these kind of problems that you might face. But accepting it is not sufficient. You have to understand how to take the right decisions even among these kind of problems that you might face. And that is why you have to have a good grasp of basic understanding of each and every area. People keep on asking me this question again and again, which are the important parts of the syllabus or important areas that I have to study. There is no such. I mean, you never know which particular area will have more number of questions, less number of questions. We can go by a general trend and recommend, yeah, this kind of questions or this particular area has more number of questions if we go by the current trend. But there is no 100% assurity that that is going to happen in this particular year as well. So you should be knowing the basics of each and every area, and trust me, it's not tough to do that. I will show you few things after a while during the session, which might help you a little bit on that. But then again, I had another important query from a lot of students, which was asked after this CAT notification came in about the strategy change. That is about the previous mocks. But what I mean by previous mocks is the mocks that were held on the previous pattern. So if I'm not wrong, the notification came around 15th of September, I guess, about the pattern change. So any mock that you took before that on any platform, even at Mathoratory, the pattern will be as was in the previous years, right? So we had 1 hour for each section and 34, 32, 34 question. I'll go as far as saying that it's not. I mean, you can obviously analyze those mocks. Not only that, you can even take those mocks if you have not taken it yet as of now. And the point being, the important learning that I talked about so far is understanding to make the right decisions and learning through those decision making. It doesn't matter how much time there is in that particular mock or how many number of questions are there. It's about taking the right decision for that particular paper, for that particular pattern. So decision making you can learn from each and every mock. There is no harm in that. So if you have any mock remaining in your kitty and you had planned to take them later on, go ahead and do that. Don't avoid it. Yes, but as we have already done, we have shifted to the new pattern as soon as the notification came out. So obviously you will have enough number of mocks going forward as well. If you feel that if you're not enrolled with Mathoratory and if you feel that you would like to take some more mocks for your preparation going forward, we have decided to slash the mock prices to a very nominal rate. You can check our website. You will find the mocks at I think 1,000 rupees or something for the remaining part, you will have at least 9 mocks of the current pattern with analysis and everything. So definitely analyze the mocks, the previous mocks, if you have not analyzed it yet. Sorry, because as I've been talking about decision making, you can always learn from each and every mock that you take. So go ahead and work this out as soon as possible if you have not been doing so. If you have been doing so, whatever I've talked about, if anything adds up to whatever you have been doing so far, definitely inculcate that, and you will have a gradual improvement. It is going to take a bit of time. Don't worry about the 2 months. That's enough time for it. I will discuss a little bit about that. But going forward, that should not be an issue. This is what I wanted to talk about the mocks. Let's now move ahead. Okay, so now coming to the new format. So the one thing that has been already mentioned in the notification, that is, there will be less amount of time in the CAT paper this year. So you are going to get. I hope everybody has gone through the notification, but you are going to get 40 minutes per section instead of 60 minutes per section. So that is the change that is going to happen this year, right? So what does that mean? So this is the only thing that we know as of now. From this point of view, first of all, let's look at the downside. It's not a 40 minutes, sorry, it's not a 60 minutes per section, it's a 40 minutes per section. So let's say in a section, you had an hour. Now, during this entire section, you at a point of time, you maybe lose out your concentration for 3 to 5 minutes. It would not hamper you that much. It would hamper you, your performance, of course, but it would not hamper that to a very huge extent. You can obviously recover from it. But the same thing, if it happens in a 40-minute duration paper, it's a higher percentage lost, right? If you have the same lapse in concentration. So this might be a downside if you're not prepared about it. So be prepared about it. Learn to focus for these 2 hours. Study for 2 hours stretch or maybe 3 hours stretch. So get prepared for this 2 hour stretch with full concentration. That is going to be very, very important. Now, I would also like to point out something at this stage. This is something I always recommend to our students at the beginning of the mock taking and everything. Take a breather. So when you enter a particular section, so let's say you complete the VRC section and now you are starting with the LRDI section. Take a small breather, maybe a 30-second or 1 minute. That is enough time. Just take a pause, gather your thoughts, and then start solving. Then start looking into a particular question. Don't immediately start off. Immediately starting or switching off that thinking a little bit, because reading and reasoning are, obviously to some extent you need reasoning. To a huge extent you need reasoning when it comes to VRC, but not as much as you would require in LRDI, right? Same thing with QA. LRDI section, as we see in the general trend going so far, LRDI has been a section which gives you some challenging sets, right? So after doing those challenging sets, once you enter the QA section, you might have been, a little bit of worn out. So this would not happen too much nowadays. Should not happen too much in this particular pattern, because earlier it used to be after 2 hours and you're into the third hour. Right now it will be after 1 hour 20 minutes. But still, that might still happen. Just take a breather when you start off a new section. Just a small pointer out here. The upside of this is the thing that I was talking about. So there is less chances of having that fatigue, right, in the third hour. So you don't have any third hour anymore. A lot of students have been complaining to me that, sir, I always lose concentration when I get into the QA section, because after 2 hours of hectic papers, this thing, for VRC and LRDI, hectic reading, hectic reasoning, and then suddenly I start with the QA, my brain stops working. Now you can't complain the same thing, right? This is a good thing in a way, but of course, there's less chance of fatigue, but you require more amount of focus. So it trades off. It always trades off. Whenever there's a change, there is always a trade-off. There will be some pros, there will be some cons to it. So I just wanted to discuss a little bit on this. And obviously, coming to this query of what will be the pattern. Now, I cannot comment on this as of now. Nobody can. I can predict, and we might have a little bit of clarity on this once CAT releases their official mock. That will come that will be released sometime in the month of October. But before that, these are few possibilities of the pattern that I predict that could be, in the CAT 2020 paper. So when I've built this table, please try to understand the first row that I've built here. So I'm not predicting that there will be equal number of questions in these three sections, but these are the range of number of questions that you might find in these three sections. So each section will have somewhere in the range of 23 to 25 questions. So if you find anywhere in this range, maybe not even 25, somewhere around 23 or 24 questions in each section. So in that case, that will not be any major change in the level of difficulty from the current level. So whatever standard you have been seeing in the recent years, you'll see the same kind of standard when it comes to the difficulty level. Now, this is the one which I personally predict might happen. I'm not 100% sure, but this is something I might predict. I predict might happen. The if we talk about another chance of number of questions, so this will be my second, probability wise. This will be the second, I won't say priority, second level of chance or something. I'm not getting that correct word. I'm sorry. So somewhere in the range of 20 to 22 questions for each section. So the first time CAD became online in 2009. And as well as in 2010, the year I took CAD as an aspirant. So both of these year, 2009 and 2010, we had 20 questions in each of the three sections, and there were 120 minutes. So we did not have sectional time bound at that stage. But yeah, if you think about the total time period used to be 120 minutes in those years. But we had 20 questions in these three sections. And in terms of number of passages and sets of VRC and LRDI, if you have 23 to 25 questions, you'll have four RC sets, I predict. Four RC sets of four questions, and 23, 25 in LRDI might have six LRDI sets. So if it is 24 questions bang on, then six sets of four questions each. I predict something on that range only. And if there is of this particular range, then again, it could have three sets or four sets of RC, and LRDI might have five sets. But if it falls in this particular range of questions, you can expect a slight increase, not a huge increase, but a slight increase in level of difficulty, especially for the VRC and QA section. I don't expect LRDI to increase furthermore. It might go to 2017 period. 2018-19 was slightly easier LRDI section compared to 2017, but it would not go further than that. This is the least chance of happening, but we cannot discard it. There is a chance that this might happen. But if we have 26 or more questions in each section, then CAT loses its flavor. So the type of testing that happens in CAT completely changes. So there will be a considerable decrease in the level of difficulty in that case, which I don't think will happen, because this is if you have even 26 questions for 40 minutes. This is why when I talked about the first type, I said either 23 or 24 questions, to be a little more precise, not even 25 questions. So if you have, let's say, 26 questions for 40 minutes, you have roughly 1.5 minutes for each question, right? If you average out in that way, even if you go by the the previous year patterns, there were 100 question, 180 minutes. So you were getting actually 1.8 minutes per question, which is very closer to 2 minutes, even far away from 1.5. So I don't predict it's going to be in the third, but I would not be surprised if it happens. I would not be expecting it, but I would not be surprised if you understand what I mean. So going ahead with this, I mean, as I said, I mean, if we get a bit of clarity going forward, well and good. If not, be ready for any eventuality. This is which I feel I already mentioned is the highest chance of happening. I would not be surprised at all if this happens. I will be a little surprised, but not that much if this third type does occur. But hopefully, we get a bit of clarity on October. But if we don't do that, as we have been doing, starting from the 17th mock in mathematics, going forward, we will play around with the patterns a little bit here and there, so that you have an adaptability to each of the types any which way. So this is a little bit of from a prediction from our side, and let's go ahead with another area, and that is the preparation flow for the last 2 months. All right, so now visiting the last part of our session, and that is how you should be preparing for the last 2 months. So obviously, as we have been discussing so much on the mocks and analysis, that is the first step. This is the main priority going forward. You should be taking mocks and analyzing them properly. Uh, Identifying those areas which you have to study is something again we have talked about. So identify those areas, which are the areas that are creating problems for you, which are the areas you have to strengthen on, and also keep identifying your comfortable areas as well. Do not miss out those. I mean, there can be something which you can improve on it. We will be discussing a little bit on that as well. But always I keep identifying those areas, which are your weak areas, which are your comfortable ones. Try to understand them. Understanding them will obviously help you in those decision making things that we talked about. And obviously revise the areas which are weak, practice them, take sectional tests, keep working on that part, and then repeat the cycle. So once you feel you're ready, you have worked a little bit on the weak areas, then again take another mock and repeat the cycle. So plan 3 to 4 day cycles. Now, when we start off with the CAT preparation earlier, at the earlier stage, we used to recommend all our students to have weekly targets. I mean, when it comes to a CAT preparation, a long journey, I mean, a daily routine doesn't help that much. But you can always keep setting weekly targets. These are the areas I will complete in a given week. Now, when CAT is coming closer, the advantage of having 3 to 4 day cycles is you get more number of cycles now. So because there are 2 months remaining, let's say 60 days or something, if you have 3 to 4 day cycle, you easily generate 15 to 20 cycles, right? So I try to have small time period of cycles. So keep repeating this process over and over again. That will keep gradually improving you towards your ideal zone, wherever you can reach with your preparation level. So try to have a flow like this going forward. If you want a little bit more help on this, you can directly contact us. We can help you with that. Now, coming to the revising the weak areas. Now, again, I have mentioned this point earlier. People have been asking me this question: which are the important parts that we need to know? Which are the syllabus which are the part of the syllabus that are not important? You have to get the basics done of everything, properly understand the basics. The basics are very key things. I mean, very, very small things. They're not tough to understand. They're just very simple ideas that you have to understand related to that particular topic. The challenge is to apply them and get the basic variations done of those areas. So at least do that much. If you have to revise on the weak areas, you have to do that much. You have to understand what the basics are and also understand how to apply them in problems. So that is how you learn the basics, right? One is knowing the basics, and another is learning the basics. So when you learn the basics only by applying them in actual problems, I will show you something in website. Let me take you to there. Okay, you can simply go to your URL and type www.mathrotary.com, and it will take you to our webpage. Under the our courses part, you can click on this CAT capsule program. Now, it will definitely help you to revise specific areas which are facing problem, or you want to get a better grip on it, revise them, just extra practice, whatever it is. It will definitely help you in that. So these capsules are very short capsules, so small areas which are designed for this purpose alone. So suppose you are facing problem only in the ratio, averages, allegation, mixtures, this areas. These are interlinked areas any which way. So if you are facing problems in these areas, then you can go ahead and purchase this capsule. Just click here and it will redirect you to that page. It will show you all the syllabus, the complete syllabus. So you can see there's an introduction to ratios. There are practice set on the basic understanding of ratio alone. Then you have properties of ratio, again practice on that, partnership, practice on that, proportionality, variance, practice on that, averages, practice on that. So it has been developed in that way. So follow the sequence. If you follow the sequence, it will help you understand this better. On the top, it also shows you the all the topics that are being covered in this particular capsule, and as well as in brief, it has been shown here. So as you can see, I mean, it's not only for QA. You have it for LRDI as well as for VRC. For LRDI nowadays, number-based LR sets are becoming very, very important. CAT has been throwing number-based LR sets a lot nowadays. So there are, I mean, we have specifically designed these capsules which will help you a little bit on understanding those kind of sets and how to approach them and everything. There are a lot of CAT sets also which have been covered in this particular areas. Obviously, if DI is creating problems for you, you can go ahead and purchase the relevant ones. So you have these basic part of DI, so line graphs, bar graphs, pie charts. And if you feel that you have a basic understanding of these areas, then you can take the advanced DI sets, which are actual sets you will find for CAT. So combination graphs, innovative graphs, calculated graphs, those kind of areas when it comes to the DI part. There are miscellaneous parts also in LRDI. So networks and cubes, games and tournaments, puzzle solving, silogs, data sufficiency. So these kind, I mean, the first two might be relevant for other management entrance tests as well. But yeah, I mean, we have created the entire thing, whichever is required. Same thing with VRC and everything. So do check the syllabus and everything before purchasing, before making the purchase. You will understand in details. I mean, whichever you click on. So you can go ahead and click on, let's say, arithmetic in LR, and again, it will show you the entire syllabus. So LRDI, typically it will be more practice related. So you'll have video solutions and everything as well. It will show you in brief how many lessons and how many tests are there, and that will give you an understanding of how it has been structured. So yeah, so this is something which helps you a little bit on revising any kind of area, not only weak areas. I mean, it could be weak areas where you want to get a grip on it. Please understand, everything has been done from basic level to advanced level. It's not just the advanced level understanding, a formula oriented thing we don't do anyhow in Mathrotary. That is not part of that is not the style of pedagogy that we have here. So you can go ahead and check one of the capsules. You'll understand. You can take whichever is relevant to you. Anyhow, getting back to the slide now. Yeah. So as I've been mentioning, so revising weak areas are definitely important. Do not leave them out. Do understand that suppose you have 34 questions in a particular section in quants, let's say, and there are 5 to 6 questions in geometry. That comprises of roughly 20% of the paper, right? But now, if there are 40 questions in the paper, there is no guarantee that every part of the particular section will be scaled down proportionately. You might still have 5 questions in geometry, so that's 25% of the paper now. So you have to understand that knowing the basics of each and every topic is important. Otherwise, we would not have anyhow taught them. Whatever is irrelevant, we don't even touch that in our course. So do not leave them out. It's not tough to do. It's just that you have to invest that time to do it. You have to believe in yourself and invest that time to do it. Enough with the weak areas. Let's move to the comfortable areas now. it's a wrong, I mean, it's a misconception that you don't have to work on your comfortable areas. Whatever is strong for you, try to keep making it stronger. So how to do that? So this is something I used to do. Whichever area I'm comfortable at, I used to always think of variations in each and every question. So any question that comes in front of me in that particular area, I myself used to think that what happens if this information is changed, or let me give you an example. So, for example, if you have a replacement question in mixtures, there might be a general way of looking into that question with the basic alone I'm talking about. But still, I mean, what if there are two beakers and you keep transferring here and there? So, what would be the best approach to solve it? That is what I used to think on. So, I used to think on the second point as well, as I mentioned in the slide. So, think of alternative ways of solving a particular question. This is something I mentioned earlier as well, right? So, not only variations in each and every question, alternative ways of solving them as well. I mean, this is not from quant alone. I mean, it could be very well from LR also. I mean, very recently I had a mock analysis session with one of our students, and we were having this discussion about tabular arrangements. So in those tabular arrangement problems, typically the first column is something we always fill up, right? There might be certain sets in which because of the type of information that has been presented to us, making the first column something else might be more suitable. So if you try to keep that curiosity open, even if you don't understand it during the mock, during your analysis, you might be able to figure them out. And if you do understand that, during the analysis, or maybe just by looking at the explanation, so the explanation has done in a certain way, which you have explored suddenly, and it hits you that I might have attempted in that way. So keep an open mind for that. So in order to keep that open mind, do not just analyze the questions which you have missed out or you have made done incorrectly. Also look at the questions which you have attempted correctly and think of these alternative ways of doing it. So keep on making them stronger. I mean, if you save a minute or something on a set which is comfortable to you, you can utilize that minute somewhere else, right? If you save a 30-second on a quant question, in a type of question which you are anyhow comfortable in, you might add up the 30-second to solving a problem which you're not comfortable at. So take it in that way. So try to find ways of solving the questions which you are anyhow comfortable at, and keep exploring them and again and again. So don't miss that out. I'm not saying every time you'll have that privilege. I mean, every time you will be able to figure it out, but sometimes you would be, and that will be definitely adding up to your learning. So do not leave out your comfortable areas. That is also part of the analysis. This is what I wanted to discuss related to these kind of revision things that you can do going forward. That somewhat concludes our session tonight. What I'll do is I'll take up some questions that were raised by aspirants while they filled up the registration form. So these are some of the questions that they asked. Let's take them up one after the other. Okay, so let's go question by question. First question. So this is how to adapt to the new strategy. I've already talked completely about this. Again, there's not too much to it. It's just if you learn to take the right decisions, you can adapt to any strategy thrown in front of you. It's just that you have to learn the decision making skills. I mean, that is what you have to learn on, and that is what you have to work on during your mock analysis. So try to learn that, and automatically you learn how to adapt to any new strategy that is thrown going forward. Next question is how to increase marks when your marks in the test becomes almost saturated. So what I gather from this question is okay. So what I feel is okay, maybe that you have been for the last few mocks, your marks are not improving to a level that you are targeting it to be. But please understand that marks reaching a particular level, and you can never target marks, right? What you can target is solving the paper or attempting the paper in a certain way so that you maximize the number of attempts, and that too without just for the sake of attempting it. I mean, that is accurately attempt them. So again, it comes to those right decisions and avoiding those time management problems and the mistakes that you typically make. So those kind of things that I already talked about, definitely work on this. It is about improving on how better you can take decisions over a period of time. So I'm not saying that if you start working on it right away in the next mock itself, that is going to help you out. But going forward in the let's say after 3-4 mocks, it will definitely help you, show that improvement. So but you have to keep on working on it from right away. I mean, otherwise it will be too late for it. Third question is about 95% tile. Okay. See, I mean, first of all, you should not aim or be satisfied with a 95 percentile. It's fine. I mean, you might have an understanding that you're not very good in a particular section, which might not help you in getting 99 percentile. But all I'm saying is don't be diffident to aim something. Don't set up a target lower. That's what my aim is, because there's always a chance that you slip up. So if you target somewhere on 95% and you slip down to 90 percentile, what then? But anyhow, you're talking about a definite thing. I mean, 95 percentile typically in CAT standard, you can achieve by scoring 40 to 45% of the marks. Typically, if you have had, I mean, if you look at the last few years of CAT, out of 300 marks, somebody who scores in the range of, let's say, um, I don't know, 140 or no, 140 will be too high. 120 to 127. That would be the 95 percentile range. So yeah, 40 to 45% are the marks, maybe 130 also. So somewhere in the range of 40 to 45% percentage will fetch you a 95 percentile. So until unless I did talk about level of difficulty and pattern, depending on the patterns that you might have in the paper. So if you have the similar kind of pattern, so I mean, that will be the same range in which you have to score to get a 95 percentile, definitely. And how should you prepare for it? As I already mentioned, do not prepare to get a 95 percentile, prepare to get a 99 percentile. 99 percentile will be somewhere in the range of 53 to 60%. Not even 60%, I guess. I mean, 60% will be too high, and 50 to 53%, 53% to be precise. I mean, roundabout. So somewhere around 53 percentage of the paper will fetch you a 99 percentile. So go ahead and prepare for that. And the way you do it is gradually improving through the mock. And everything that I talked about in this session is targeting that. So you should prepare accordingly. That will be my recommendation. Speed of solving will be more important. What to do to increase the speed? Speed of solving is anyhow important. I mean, it's not just because the total time has dropped. The speed of solving has suddenly become important. I mean, earlier also speed of solving has been important, but you can never reduce or you can never target to reduce the speed. What you can target is to get the basics done properly, know how to apply those basics easily, and learn how to comprehend the problem quickly and simplify the problem. So these are the steps I might put it in a brief way. Um, so again, repeating that, try to understand the problem through the basics, how to apply those basics into that problem. That is the learning part, practicing part, and during the paper, comprehend the question quickly. So when I say quickly, I'm not saying reading the question quickly. I'm saying comprehend the question quickly. There's a difference between the two. You have to read and understand that hand in hand. And once you have done that, simplify the approach of solving that question. So if you simplify the approach, the speed comes naturally with it. So that is how you should target it, rather than targeting to increase the speed. You cannot just run faster by thinking. So I mean, that is not possible. Hopefully that helps you. Please suggest preparation tips for those who are starting their preparation now. That is only when 2 months are left. Okay. Uh, Revise. I mean, get your basics done. So this depends on whether you have prepared for CAT earlier or not. So whether you're a first-time CAT aspirant or not. So if you are not a first-time CAT aspirant, then revise the basic areas quickly. If you're not a first-time CAT aspirant, then you have to get the basics done quickly. So do go ahead and take our capsules. That is definitely going to help you. It's just that it's had been developed in a constructive way, rather than looking for videos here and there. We also have a lot of free videos in our YouTube channel, but those are unstructured. Everywhere it will be unstructured. You will have a structured one out there through the basics, then application, variation, application, and so on and so forth. So go ahead and take capsules which are relevant ones to begin with, and then go ahead. I mean, as you develop those over the period of time, take the other areas also which feels relevant to you. So apart from that, mock and mock analysis is applicable to you as well. If you have been starting now, I mean, you have to target to start taking mocks earliest by, I mean, sorry, latest by, um, I don't know, third week of October or something. At least it will take you 3 weeks to cover the basics properly. Depends on your understanding of these areas. So if your understanding is good enough, then it is fine. Otherwise, it might be a little bit of problem. Yeah, 2 months. I mean, it's not that it's not possible. It depends on your how much you are adept with these kind of areas. So yeah, that's my recommendation for this. Yeah, so these three questions are specifically for QA. I don't know why people are too much worried about the QA part to begin with. Quant has been tough section for me. I'm a political science student. QA and DI section. I mean, okay. So I'm not sure whether you're talking about just the DI section or the LR and DI. Okay, if DI specifically is facing a problem for, I mean, being a problem for you, then do get to understand the arithmetic part of QA first, and then try to understand how to apply those arithmetic ideas into the DI type of questions, because DI has very close relationship with arithmetic section, the basic pillars of arithmetic. So the capsules that I earlier showed you, let me show that again. Yeah, so under the QA capsule, so mathority.com slash capsule program, or just go to mathority.com and go to CAT capsule program under our courses. It will take you to this web page. Herein, you will have these two areas will definitely help you to develop the basic understanding or basic pillars of DI. So percentages, ratio, averages, these are very relevant for the DI section. I mean, there are LR sets also which are developed on these arithmetic ideas. I mean, earlier that I showed this number based LR. So this part arithmetic and LR set. So you'll find a lot of actual CAT sets as well, or variants on it. Which use those arithmetic ideas. But DI typically has a very close relationship with the arithmetic module. Not specifically time, speed, and distance and time and work that much, but definitely these two parts. So percentages and ratio and averages, allegation also. I mean, lot of questions. DI sets I can solve very quickly using allegation ideas, even some LR sets as well, as I talked about. But anyhow, so this might help you. Go ahead and take some of them and practice accordingly. Very low priced modules, so it's 150, 180, I mean, less than a movie ticket or something. So miss out a movie, watch this. That will be more effective for you. So yeah, going to the next question. Yeah, so the other two questions also, quant has been a really tough section for me. Even with practicing regularly, I get frightened. Question again. Don't be afraid. Get the basics done properly. The problem happens when you mug up too many formulas. The problem happens when you try to remember too many things. The way we have taught is so that you have to remember very few formulas and something. I mean, the entire QA syllabus, I think we use some 14 to 15 formulas. And when I say 14 to 15 formulas, formulas something like, let's say LCM, HCF, A plus B whole square, A minus B whole square, A cube minus B cube, area of a circle, area of a triangle, successive percentage change, A plus B plus AB by 100. Those kind of basic ideas only. I mean, not very hi-fi theorems or hi-fi formulas, not relevant from CAT scope. You can do it everything. I mean, you can do everything from basic itself. So get those basics done and automatically simplifies for you. So go ahead. I mean, whichever area. I mean, quant entirety, I don't think could be a problem for you. If it is, then gradually take the capsules. Don't take all of them in one go. But start with certain areas which have been troubling you a little bit, then go ahead with taking those areas which troubles you more. So try to develop in that way rather than purchasing everything at one go. This is precisely why we created those capsules, which should help you going ahead. More focus on which topics in quantitative aptitude. Again, silly question. All you have to know everything. I already talked a lot about this. You have to get the basics done of everything. You never know what is going to happen, so better be prepared for any eventuality. So these are some of the queries that we have picked up that was relevant for this session. If you have any questions going forward, as I mentioned this earlier, you can keep asking them in live chat. We will take them up in the chat itself. And to close the session, as I've been aiming you to guide you, it's basically the idea is that at this moment you might have weak areas, you might have strong areas, but ideally on the D-Day, you should be in a state of preparation where you have very comfortable areas and not so comfortable areas. Let me put it in that way. You should not have weak areas. This will definitely help you to take the decisions a little better. And the thing that I've been repeating over and over again: do make mistakes. Don't be afraid from making mistakes. Don't be avoiding to make those mistakes, but do learn from your mistakes. Once you have learned it, you don't have to remember it. You don't have to feel guilty about it. Forget about the mistakes. Remember the learning, and the learning you automatically remember. You don't have to mug it up. Just identify it, what mistake you made, and understand it. What led you to that mistake, and once you have learned what happened with you, just forget about it. Your subconscious will take care of it. So, I mean, this is a very common saying, right? Failures are pillars of success. But please remember that failures are pillars of success only when we learn from them, not otherwise. So, that's all I had to discuss related to the session. If you want to connect to us, you can definitely drop us a mail or call us at this number. Do visit our website. There is a blog section. There are some interesting topics out there. And also there are a lot of courses and everything. Capsules I've already shown you a couple of times today. You can explore them. It will definitely help you going forward. And do connect with us on Facebook and Telegram as well. I will leave the Facebook page link as well as the Telegram channel link in the description of this video. Do connect to us. We keep on posting information as well as any sort of relevant thing that is related to your preparation in the channel. After you join the channel, you can click on the discuss button. It will take you to the open group. In the open group, we have discussions on various questions and everything. So you can join in there itself, and you can ask your doubts and everything. Whenever we personally have time, we definitely look into that. But there are other peoples also who keep on collaborating and helping each other out. So it's a good study group sort of thing. You can join in there and keep in touch with us. And all the best for your CAT preparation and all the best for the D-Day. We will obviously connect with you once again. And those who are, if there is any CAT 2021 aspirant right now, something interesting is coming up for you guys as well. All the best to all of you. wishing you all the best for your future. Thank you.